Welcome to Salisbury University On the Air, a program highlighting the activities and people of the campus. I'm your host, Jason Rhodes. As the calendar turns to September, it's time to welcome students back to the SU campus. And while that may have a different look this year, the students have returned and classes are underway in a few different formats. The university is moving forward with its mission of offering the best educational experience possible. Joining me today to discuss the way the return to campus has started is SU President Charles Wight. President Wight, thank you for joining us in our virtual format.
It's a pleasure to be here.
As the academic year begins, are you excited about having students, staff, and faculty back on campus?
Yes, of course. It's been very quiet around campus since the end of spring break last spring. And summer is usually very quiet, and usually in the fall, it's the best time of year when students come back and they fill up the sidewalks and the classrooms and the dining halls and the events areas and the residence halls. And I am just beyond happy that that's going on this year too.
I think we all are. Now, with cautionary steps in place due to COVID-19, move-in looked a little different this year, including student helpers not being available to assist families. But I understand you were out there helping. What was the atmosphere like when you were out there during move-in week?
Well, I helped a very little bit. I went out to see if I could gauge the atmosphere of move-in. And, there was a lot of anticipation among our students about starting the year. Some of them are freshmen and they're new to this college thing. Others of them were returning students. And so they were really eager to get started. Parents, I think, were a little bit apprehensive about letting their sons and daughters go off to college, but they have taken a pretty careful look at what we're doing, and I think they're mostly pleased with the safety measures that we've put into place to keep everybody healthy and safe.
Many changes occurred on the campus over the summer. How did you feel about the preparation that took place to allow a safe return to campus this fall?
Well, it was just an enormous comprehensive effort on the part of hundreds of people. The facilities team was hard at work all summer ensuring that every space on campus is modified to accommodate social distancing. There were upgrades made to the air filtration systems, and filters were added in offices and classrooms. These are high efficiency HEPA filters mostly. Students that wanted a single room were granted one, and there are additional safety protocols in place in the residence halls. And we've also increased staffing and resources in a number of areas to better support students and employees. For example, we have additional staff in the counseling center. We have additional staff in student health services. And both those areas have kind of reconfigured the way that they provide services to students. We hired medical staff for employees, and we have a 24/7 wellness line for mental health and COVID-related questions. So there's a lot of preparation that went in, besides the obvious thing that faculty had to more or less reinvent their teaching over the summer.
Now, speaking of that reinvention, we know that students are taking courses in different ways this year: online, remote, hybrid, and face-to-face. How important is it to you to make sure that the options available to students and faculty are enough so they can choose the modality that make them the most comfortable?
Well, it was really important, of course, and Salisbury University has traditionally been a place where we have that high-touch interaction, that close interaction between faculty and students in the process of teaching and learning. And we wanted to keep as much of that as possible going. But the pandemic requires a de-densification of campus, including those teaching and learning spaces. And so it's not always possible to accommodate that face-to-face learning. The class that I teach, for example, I have 22 students in my class, but my classroom only holds 18 students. So we had to make some changes to the way that we teach. So we're doing more online, more hybrid, and less face-to-face, but still providing that high-touch experience, which is kind of the signature of success for Salisbury University.
It is. Now, what class are you teaching this semester?
So I'm teaching general chemistry, first semester, mostly freshmen, And we're doing it in a hybrid format. A lot of my students are present in the classroom, but at least a few at any given time are participating via Zoom. And so I have cameras and microphones and speakers set up in my class so that the students who are participating via Zoom can see and hear everything that's going on, and they can participate in the discussions.
It sounds like it's going to be a great experience for them.
I hope so.
Now, with physical distancing protocols in place, socializing could be difficult for some students. What is campus housing and residence life doing to facilitate interaction among students? And are there any other plans to allow students to get together in a safe environment?
Well, there is a lot going on, and there are a lot of activities for students. A lot of it's outdoors, of course, where it's a little bit safer. It just looks a little bit different because of the need to de-densify and to wear masks whenever anybody is outside and cannot accomplish that social distancing. We're encouraging students to work, play, learn in small groups or pods. It's not always possible to keep students apart from each other, but the smaller the groups are, the more effective our efforts to restrict the flow or the spread of the virus. So it's just a little bit different, but it is important to keep students engaged and busy all the time, because they'll always find other things to do if it's not organized activities.
They will. COVID-19 testing has been a key aspect in SU's return to campus plan. How has the testing process gone so far, and are you happy with the results so far?
I am very happy with the results so far. So we required every student, faculty member, staff member, every employee, every member of our community to have a COVID-19 test done just before the start of the semester in order to allow them to come onto campus. Now, there are some students who are taking just online courses, and so they didn't have to have a test, and some staff people who are teleworking and are never going to come to campus, and they didn't have to have a test. But everybody, in order to come to campus, had to have a test. And so the results of those tests show that our overall positivity rate is less than 1%. Now, the few people who tested positive, they have to isolate and get cleared by health authorities before they can come on campus, but it's a comparatively small number. And so we're starting off in a really good place where the virus has a very low rate of positivity. So we were doing about 1,000 tests a week just before the start of the semester, and all of the numbers of tests that were done in each batch and the dates and the number of positive tests that came back are all on our coronavirus website. So we're being pretty transparent about the results. We're continuing to test during the semester, and that's to keep track of cases and to identify and control any potential spread of the disease. But for now, our positivity rate remains below 1% after almost 3,000 tests that we've conducted ourselves. And whether it's the expertise of ESRGC or our amazing faculty and staff that stood up this testing operation, what we're seeing is really a true testament to the skills and expertise of people right here at Salisbury University. We are doing almost all of this in-house, and that allows us to be flexible and to react to circumstances very quickly if they should arise.
That's impressive. SU has put many measures in place to help keep faculty, staff, and students safe, but university officials can't do it alone. What can individuals at SU do to help increase the odds that the campus is able to stay open for the full semester?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because we can provide a physical environment that encourages people to remain safe and provides an opportunity to remain safe. But it's up to people, it's up to everybody to wear masks, to practice physical distancing, to practice good hand hygiene and hygiene overall, and most especially not to be in any large groups or parties. And so it really is up to all of us to make this work. And if we don't all do it, then it might end up being a very short semester on campus. This disease is very, very contagious. And there are people who are known as super spreaders who can infect a lot of people through really inappropriate behavior. I learned a new term for this today. They're called COVIDiots. And if you're a COVIDiot, you can spoil the on-campus experience for a lot of people. And so we're encouraging everybody, absolutely everybody, to practice the masking, the social distancing, the hygiene, and avoiding large groups.
I hope they do. How influential were SU's COVID-19 task force and planning group members in preparing to get the fall semester underway?
Well, the task groups were composed of faculty and students and staff leaders, and they did a tremendous amount of planning on everything from instruction and safety to mental wellness and maintaining our commitment to diversity and inclusion. I really thank those people from the bottom of my heart. You know, this isn't an easy task, and it's not a task that one person or even a small group of people can do. So we divided it into different task groups, and a different group of people were involved in solving each different type of problem. Our university health team, which is comprised of medical professionals, scientists, and public health experts, will continue to meet indefinitely, and their guidance has and will continue to direct our operations.
It takes a village.
Good.
Now, obviously, none of us can see the future, and we hope for a full year of in-person learning, but I know SU is prepared for adjustments. What plans are in place for any changes that may be needed should the pandemic force a change in the way teaching takes place this semester?
Well, we are keeping an eye on lots of different metrics, about a dozen different metrics having to do with rates of positivity, patterns of positivity on our campus, capacity for isolating, treating, caring for people, capacity of the healthcare system, the local regional hospitals, and the overall positivity rates in our city and in the surrounding counties and in our state. And all of those things together will be used in making a judgment about whether or not we need to change our level of operation. Right now, we're in what we call level 2, which is normal operations, but de-densified. But from the start, we told everybody, including faculty, that we might have to go to level 3, which would be moving instruction online, or maybe even level 4, where we close the campus to our faculty and staff and go back to a level of operations that we were at the end of spring semester. And so we just don't know what course the disease is going to take. But we're prepared for almost any eventuality, and the faculty have designed their teaching and their courses to be flexible so that if we need to change levels of operation, we'll be able to do it with minimal disruption to the educational process.
I know SU is trying to keep the campus and greater community informed about COVID-19 through a series of weekly briefings which you host. Can you tell us about those and how people might find them online?
Sure. Once a week, we do a live briefing. Sometimes I do it alone. Sometimes I have a guest, a health professional or somebody else to help me with the material. But we'll do it once a week live. It's streamed on Facebook and elsewhere, and you can get the links from our coronavirus webpage.
President Wight, thank you for that information, and thank you for joining us today.
It was my pleasure, Jason.
It's been a long, quiet summer on the SU campus, but we're so excited to have students, faculty, and staff back, and we can see the smiles under the masks. As President Wight mentioned, it's necessary for all of us on campus and off to protect the flock and to do our part to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. While SU officials are excited for the return of students, we still are asking the public to refrain from entering campus buildings as we de-densify all areas of SU. The university is known throughout the region for hosting outstanding cultural events, and while some have changed, we'll also continue to offer many in a virtual format this semester. Let's take a look at some of them now. Be sure to visit salisbury.edu/events for more upcoming activities and information on how to register for them in advance, which is required in many cases. Thank you again to our guest, SU President Charles White. I'm Jason Rhodes, and this has been Salisbury University on the Air. Thank you for watching.